Hi, and welcome to a Chip Off the Old Block Toys. I'm Jeff, and today we're going to unbox and build Lego set 60307, which is the Wildlife Rescue Camp. And the reason I'm doing this set is, number one, I think it's cool. I like the elephants. I like the lions, the eagle, the monkeys. I like a lot of it. But part of my city is going to be a zoo. And so I need to collect animals and their natural habitats, and I thought, minus the vehicles and the boat, I thought this was a good set for that. So that's the reason we're doing this one. This set has 503 pieces, so it's not an exceptionally large set. It does have a few stickers and that kind of thing. So let's break right into it. Alright, they did not number the books. So, oh, there's bag one, so we'll start with this one. Hello Jenny, how you doing? Hello, John, how you doing? So this set's been out for probably about 2 or 3 weeks now. I bought it when it first came out. I just haven't had a chance to get to it. And here we go. Here's this guy with his helmet, motorcycle helmet. And now you got a rescue officer, I guess. And there you go. And John says, okay, Back seems to be cooperating with me tonight, and he says hi to Jennifer. And how's your day been, to John? You been, did you work today? I worked today. Wasn't too bad. Pretty normal. Actually, I'd say it was kind of busy today, which I like it when it's that way, because then the whole day goes by fast. I love YouTube and their graphics. The graph shows one person, but up above on the counter it says 2 people in the room. So I can't even agree with how many people are here. But that's YouTube for you. And speaking of YouTube and that kind of thing, I went ahead and bought or re-signed up for the same internet for a little bit cheaper, because my contract was up. So I re-upped for another year, which gave me about $20 off my internet. So, or not 20, $10, but close enough. It's money off, and I'll accept it no matter what. And after work today, I did some preventative things around the house. My house is the last one. And then after that, there's a big open field, and that field brings things like snakes, mice, wolf spiders, all kinds of stuff. And they haven't been too bad in the house. No snakes. The wolf spiders, yes, there's been some. And so I went ahead and took care of spraying the inside of the house this week, earlier. And then today, I bought some stuff that you put on the end of the hose to keep all kinds of critters away. And I sprayed it around the whole perimeter of the house, and I made sure I paid extra special attention to the basement window wells, just to make sure that I'm getting that properly, and I'm not leaving an open door for unwanted guests. And John says, oh, Jenny says, hello John, good day. Dog sitting for a friend. She's a mix of pit bull and mutt. She's very cure and good. I think she meant cute. And John says, that must be fun. I've already had neighbors volunteering to sit for Roo. Yesterday was the worst with the MRI. Well, how soon do you get the results, if you don't mind me asking? Usually it's about, what, three days or so? And so yeah, I spent some time doing some preventative bug maintenance around the house. And they are digging another foundation on my street, so it's becoming less and less a wilderness out there. They've got, at the end of my street, they got 2 houses under construction now. And then now we got this little plain little thing. I'm not really sure how effective it is, but there you go. And if you missed my opening, the reason I'm building this is for my city. I'm going to have a section of the city that's a zoo, and this is in getting ready for that. I got it mainly for the animals, but I don't think the rest of it's too bad, so you know, I'll use what I can. And John says next week sometime. Well, that's the first. She finally jumped on the couch all by herself. I'm in trouble now. Yeah. Okay, so we have a little lion cub. And then we've got a lion. So I'll move some of these things off camera here. Alright, let's head over to bag number 2 and probably book number 2. Yep, there we go. Looks like we're building some sort of animal rock habitat here. And I was preparing the Lego City for next week's video. I might start shooting that this weekend. I try to get as much done as I can for the YouTube channel on weekends since I don't have to work. It does make it a lot easier throughout the rest of the week. And this week's no exception. That's what I'm going to try to do. Alright, so we have this little rock enclosure. I love these little things. So it looks like we're building a little bit of a tree that's growing up on the side of the rock. And Jenny says your Lego city is growing. You have about 300 Lego people in that city. Yeah, it is growing quite a bit. I do have to say that I am quite impressed with it. I mean, I know that I'm the one building it, but I didn't know how far I was going to be able to take it. I didn't know how long it would last. I knew what I wanted out of it, and so far it seems to be going pretty well. It seems like I'm inching my way towards my goal of what I want in the end with that city, so very happy with that and pleased. Even Lego citizens can procreate. Yeah, well. Just the one thing you can't do is eat a Lego because you'll crap a brick. Alright. And Jenny says, I like your shirt. Well, thank you. I love The Mandalorian. The show I thought was pretty good, but I'm not so sure I'm going to watch any more of it since Gino Carano was fired. And you know, if you take that as a political statement, that's fine. I don't mean for it to be. I just don't like the way that you don't fire somebody on social media. That's very tacky. Yeah, if you haven't figured it out by now, you know, I am more of a person of principles than I am political, meaning that, you know, I just feel like we should treat each other how we want to be treated. And the last thing I would want is for my boss to blast it on social media that I was fired and, you know, not get an explanation. Person to person. I think that that's the coward's way out, to fire somebody like that, and that's the reason I have a problem with it, because that's not how I would want to be treated. Do I know if Lego will be making another movie? I don't know, because I haven't heard anything to that effect. However, you know, they did make Lego Movie 1 and 2, then a Jago movie, Lego Batman movie. So, I don't know. You know, that's a really good question. Alright, and then we got our little egg in here. And then they usually say this when the president lands, but the eagle has landed. There we go. And now we've got bag number 2 complete. I guess the short answer to that, Jenny, is I don't know, but if Lego thinks they'd make a buck off it, I'm sure they will. And not that I want to go back and forth on this, but as far as the Lego Titanic that's supposed to be coming out soon, I'm actually leaning towards getting it. So we'll see. But here's a vet. How are my parents doing? Pretty good. My mom just texted me today. She's kind of funny. She texted me to let me know that my best friend was in town 2 weeks ago. Well, the funny thing is, it's my best friend, so I already knew. And he went by my house and visited me, so... Yeah, I'm pretty sure I knew he was here. And my same friend, Brian, he went to go visit Boston, and while he was there, he saw my younger sister, Christina, there. So they were both, my sister lives within 20 minutes of me. Brian lives in Minnesota, and so neither one of them are from the Boston area, but while they were out sightseeing, they ran into each other. And Brian and Christina and another Brian used to all hang out together in high school, so she knows Brian pretty well. And my friend Brian, his wife, they've been married for 20-some years now. She really likes Avengers, and so I parted out like 154, I think it was 156 Avengers sets, and it came with a Captain America, who she's very fond of. Of course, I know a lot of girls that are women. So when she was over here, I didn't have it, and she asked me if I had any. I didn't at the time, and then later that week after they left, I ended up buying those sets. It was 156 of them, I think it was. So I ended up dropping her one of those Captain Americas in the mail. So this is supposed to be like a rescue van sort of thing. So we'll see how it turns out. I personally think it's a little too plain, but I think what you're paying for in this set is mostly the animals. I think that's where most of the value, Lego feels that's where most of the value is in this set. Oh boy. That's what that's for. I'd like to do a little bit of traveling myself. Love to see some areas of the world, like the Colosseum. It's definitely one I'd like to see. Oh, it helps you grab the right piece, right? But yeah, I would love to go see the Colosseum in Rome. I'd like to go see Mount Rushmore. There's Zion's National Park here. There's Natural Bridges Park here. Yosemite's close by. I've been to Yosemite once, but I was really young, so I don't really remember much of it. So that, yeah, that doesn't mean much, but I'd like to go see it again. I'm not that far from it. There's actually a lot around here to go see. You guys have all seen my shirt for Bear Lake. I'd like to go back there. That's a fun spot around here. In fact, one of these days I'd like to have a boat of my own. That would be a lot of fun. How's your mom doing, John? Alright, our first sticker. There's only 3 stickers in this set, so there's really not that many. I don't know if you guys have been watching the news, but I think you pretty much have to be hiding in a cave somewhere if you haven't heard the story of Gabby Petito and her fiance or whatever he was, Brian Laundrie. So you have to crawl underneath some rock to not know about that story. But I've been following that story pretty closely, and it's a tragedy that things like that even happen in this world, but they do. And the reason I mention it because I'm in Utah, and that was not the last place that she was seen, but one of the last places that she was seen was here. And it always cracks me up when I see the news reports on there, because they call the place that she was at, they're not saying Zion's right, and they're not saying Moab right a lot of times. So it kind of cracks me up. Well, this elephant has not been poached. It still has its ivory. Does anybody know what they make piano keys out of now? They used to make them out of ivory, but I don't think that's legal anymore. But I'm not sure what they make them out of. But here you go. Here's the elephant. The elephant in the room. Has anybody else been following that case with Gabby Petito and Brian Laundrie? If you have been, I'd just like to know your opinion. Do you think they're going to find this Brian Laundrie guy that's been on the run now for over a week? And if you do think they're going to find him, do you think they're going to find him alive? I know what my opinion is. I don't think they're going to find him alive. If nobody's heard from him for this long, he's probably got hurt and died, or purposely exited this world of his own choosing, if you know what I mean, because I'm not allowed to say that word on YouTube. I personally think he's not alive anymore. I think, like I said, he chose his exit from this world. But what do I hope? I hope they do find him alive. So that way, and I'm not saying he is responsible, but if he is, I think he needs to pay the price like anybody else would, because the coroner did say that Gabby's death was a homicide. So I'm not saying he is responsible, so don't come at me saying I did. I did not. I'm saying if he's responsible, then I want to see him face the music like anybody else would in that situation. But I'm not saying that I have any sort of knowledge or I'm blaming him for it, because honestly, there's only two people that probably know, and one of them's no longer with us. Piano keys are made out of wood and plastic. The black keys are made out of ebony or very hard wood. Okay, I'm just curious because, you know, my parents had a piano that was made in the late 1800s when I was a kid, and its keys were actually made of ivory, the white ones. I mean, I know they're not anymore. So just curiosity on that. Okay, so we got to put a shot, a bottle, and I'm not really sure what that is in there. I wondered if Lego was going to come out with characters with masks on because of COVID. Sorry, bad joke. Okay, so we've got to put some side view mirrors on here. Yeah, come to think of it, I'm not sure what happened to that piano growing up. Last time I saw it was in California right before my parents moved to Utah, but that was 2001. It's 20 years ago, so I'm not even sure that thing exists anymore. I'm glad this thing has a little bit more to it, because it kind of looked like it was more pieces, like more larger pieces, like sometimes Lego does. But this has individual pieces built into it. I like that. All right, well that finishes bag 4 and book 2. So let's slide on over to the next one, which should be bag 5 if I got it in order. Oh, you know what? Okay, well, silly me. They were made out of ivory back in the day. Like I was saying, John, my parents had a piano that was built in the late 1800s, and it was definitely ivory. That's why they used to say when you played the piano you were tickling the ivories. They don't say that anymore, I'd imagine, or maybe they do, but is this guy supposed to be a hipster at work with his haircut? I kind of wonder. Well, you know, if you want to hear an interesting story, my mom, that's the reason we have the piano, is my mom. And my mom's deaf. And I don't mean hard of hearing, I mean deaf. And she's been deaf since she was 6 months old. So that lady knows how to play the piano. and she knows how to play it without messing up. She can tell by the feel of the piano whether she has the tunes right, or the notes right, I should say. So, I didn't know your dad knew how to play, Jenny. That's pretty cool. Okay, so this one's got some fruit in it. If I can get it to stay in there. And actually, I don't know if I relayed this story or not, but when I went to that train show a couple weeks ago, I guess it's more like a month ago now, with my dad, there was a kid there that came up with purple hearing aids on, and I talked to him a little bit, and his mom, and she thought that was really cool that my mom was deaf, and that I'd grown up with a deaf mom. She had a lot of questions. And that was a very fun conversation that I had. Alrighty. Let's do this. And of course, a boat would not be complete without a life preserver. Boy, they really like their little containers, don't they? It always hurts to pinch your skin in a little bit on these Legos when you're pressing them down, but it does happen. So it looks like we're going to play a little bit of a tree, make a little bit of a tree here. I don't know why I said play, because you don't really play with trees, you climb in them, but alright. Tree is coming along nicely. And looks like we're almost done with this bag, and then we only got one more left, and we are done. And like I said, this set's going to sit for a little bit on the shelf because the zoo is a long way off. However, when I saw this set for the first time, I knew I had to have it because the elephants and the lions. Just wanted to make sure that I could have it for later, because we all know how Lego doesn't keep things on the shelf for very long, and then they discontinue things. And I don't want to get caught again thinking that I'll be able to get it later and then I'm not able to because for whatever reason, finances not available. We're getting into that time of year with Lego where the shelves are going to be empty here. All right. I do not like this idea for a plate. Now, remember, I've been collecting Legos for like 40 plus years now, and I do not like this plate. I think this is a very cheap display by Lego. Just not a fan of it. Oops, wrong one. So, but yeah, I got this from my zoo, and that's the reason I got it, and I'm very happy with it. And like I said, I know it'll sit for a couple months, if not longer. And here's a couple monkeys. I think they're pretty cool. I love how they have one hand, so you can feed them a banana or something. And we're on the last bag, which is bag number 6. And have I seen any good movies? No, not really. Ever since COVID hit last year, I really haven't seen too many movies. Mostly what I do is watch YouTube anymore. And I've got a couple of channels that I'm a regular of. I like True Crime Daily because they go over things like the Gabby Petito case, which I am very interested. And yes, the Lego elephants are very awesome. I agree. And there's also another lady, Stephanie Harlow, who does true crime, and I like her. I really enjoy her channel as well because she does more than just a headline. She really goes into depth and does her research, and I think she does a really good job on her research. So those are the kind of things that I watch. But have you seen any good movies, Jenny? Do I have a favorite animal? Yes, my favorite animal is the eagle. And that's just because how majestic they are. How, well, they call it being eagle-eyed. Being able to see stuff and catch things that others don't catch. I've always admired eagles for that ability. And I also love seeing videos of eagles plucking fish right out of the water. I think that is just an awesome sight to see. Do you have a favorite animal, and if you do, which one? Okay, so we're going to put an office right inside of the tree here. Not a bad idea. No good movies yet. Yeah, I think they're kind of hard to come by now. I don't see too many movie trailers anymore. I used to see a lot more pre-COVID, but I guess they're still coming out with movies. I don't really know. Oh boy. Oh no, I did right. Cool. And Jenny says my dad's favorite animal too. That's cool. I really liked, there's actually a webcam, I think it's the National Zoo in DC, that they've actually got a webcam that's focused on a bald eagle's nest that's pretty much on all the time. and I've watched that occasionally, and I did watch it the day that they thought that new bald eagles were going to hatch. And I mean, I couldn't stand there and watch it all day. I watched it for a little bit, and it didn't happen within that time frame. So I did not see it live, but I did go back later and watch it, and I thought that was pretty cool. That was a few years ago, because I was actually living in DC when that happened, and I lived here in Utah over 2 years. So can't remember exactly when that was, but it was a little bit ago. Oh, that's cool. These are supposed to be binoculars. Oh. Alright, so I got to build 4 of these little guys. Oh, these are probably going to hold up the canopy. We've got a material canopy over here. It came with the set. And I like when they use these little ball things for that. I think that's pretty cool. So they put a little hole in the fabric, and it makes it fit snug around that. Yeah, it's definitely cooler now. It's not like cold, it's just cooler. Instead of being highs in the high 90s, low hundreds, the highs have been in the 80s, low 80s. And it does get cold at night, which during the summer here, it does not get cold at all at night. It'll stay in the 70s all night long. So definitely it's changing, which I'm sure my air conditioning appreciates, because it's not coming on as much. How about you guys over there? Oh, you said it's getting cooler out there. Yeah, and it's getting, yeah, I did notice today when I went out that the mountains, on the mountains, is changing colors, turning orange and red. Build a ladder here. Oh, no, I did that wrong. Let me fix that. Oh, I see. Not here. Oh, that's right. You're in Florida, though. I don't think it really ever gets. It gets cooler, but I don't think it ever gets cold there. I remember one year when it actually froze. They were panicking about the citrus crop being lost. So, yeah, I don't think you guys really get cold there. But doesn't your hurricane season last all the way to November or something, or middle of November? You guys have a pretty long hurricane season. Okay, so let me try to get this on camera, all of it, real quick, because we're done building. There we go. Alright, so we got the river with a little office inside, 2 monkeys, a little crane thing, a lioness, a lion, a little cub, a boat, an elephant. I'm not sure what this is, but okay, we'll go with it. Some cheap plane. So I do love the eagle's nest. My goodness, I think that's really cool. We got the truck with the smokestack like that. We got 2 minifigures here. And then we got a couple more minifigures here. And even a few more. And then a motorcycle. And good luck with snow. Yeah, we're gonna have snow. But I love the snow here. It's beautiful. And in case you guys didn't know, a little useless little fact that I know is that Alexander the Great, I think it was him, that used elephants as tanks in his wars, and it did terrify people. And I think that would terrify me too if I'd never seen one before and it was charging at me with a warrior on the back with a bow and arrow or spear. I think that'd scare me too. Anyway. Alright guys, I do appreciate you tuning in. We're at 45 minutes, but we're done. So we're going to head and call this a stream, and just ask that you hit the like button or the Rumble button if you're watching this on Rumble. Alright, well, be good to each other and stay safe out there, and I will catch you guys on the next video.